Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel, where we talk all about attracting birds to your backyard. I'm your host, Grant Reddick. I'd like to thank KingsYard for reaching out and asking me to review their Squirrel Proof Bird Feeder. I have a huge problem with squirrels, so I'm gonna have absolutely no problem putting this thing through the test. So with this feeder, basically what the mechanism does is if the squirrel jumps on here and he tries to eat off the feed, this thing closes due to the pressure from the top. I've actually never tried one of the pressurized ones before. I've never really had a lot of luck with other squirrel feeders, squirrel proof feeders before. So we're gonna definitely test this out. I do like the fact that this baffle kind of comes over the top. What it does is actually, it also covers some of the weathering. So if you're out in the rain, it actually helps control the seed a little bit better. I always like when there's something that protects the seed from other outside elements such as rain or snow. It just has one little added bonus so it doesn't get moldy seed in there. To fill it from the top, there's these two little black buttons on each side, and basically what you'll do is you'll squeeze those together and the top just pops off, and then you can basically fill from the top here. So we're gonna get this thing up and we're gonna test it out. I got some pretty tough squirrels, so we're gonna see how this thing holds up. I do like that it's all metal because I have some chewers and they will chew through basically anything, but we'll see how this holds up, and we're gonna test this. When putting up this feeder, I decided to break all the typical squirrel rules. And this is because I actually wanted the squirrels to get to the feeder because I wanted to test the way the feeder actually prevents them from getting the seed. The 5-7-9 rule talks about how to prevent squirrels from getting to your bird feeder. This is done by placing the feeder at least 5 feet off the ground, 7 feet away from where the squirrel can jump to the feeder, and 9 feet below anything hanging above. Because the idea of the video was to actually get the squirrel on the feeder, I actually put the feeder a lot closer to the ground than I should have, as well as close enough to where they could jump to the feeder, and this was specifically just to test out the feeder's capabilities. At first, I couldn't even get the squirrels to get on the feeder. And this is because I have a lot of squirrel-proof feeders in my yard, and some that look very similar to this design, and it actually kept them from actually trying out or trying to even get onto the feeder. But finally, after trying a new location and actually getting it closer to the ground, I was finally able to get a squirrel that actually attempted to get to the seed. Unfortunately for the squirrel, he quickly realized that his weight actually closed down the seed port and he couldn't get to the seed. So like any good squirrel, the first thing that he decided to do was try to chew. And again, unfortunately for the squirrel, because this is a sturdy metal feeder, all he did was able to chew off some of the paint from the feeder, but couldn't get any of the seed. After several minutes of trying to get the seed and not being able to, the squirrel eventually gave up. He decided to go back to some of the other feeders that aren't equipped to handle some of his shenanigans. Overall, I've been extremely pleased with this squirrel-proof feeder from KingsYard. It's relatively inexpensive when compared to other squirrel-proof bird feeders on the market. It also holds a good amount of seed, so you're not going to be refilling the feeder constantly. Two highly welcome additions to this feeder that other feeders don't have is the locking mechanisms on the top and bottom of the feeder. Many feeders, especially tube feeders, the top of the feeder tends to not be very tight and it actually comes off, exposing the seed. This feeder has 2 buttons that need to be pressed simultaneously to be able to open the top, and this is just another extra added protection. Conversely, these 2 buttons are used on the bottom of the feeder, which allows the bottom of the feeder to come off for easy cleaning. So if you're looking for a squirrel-proof feeder that's relatively inexpensive, I highly recommend you checking out the KingsYard Squirrel Proof Bird Feeder. I'm gonna leave a link to this specific feeder, as well as the KingsYard Amazon store. If you use my code GRANTKING, all caps, you can take an additional 20% off your KingsYard Amazon store order. If you like this video and you'd like to see more videos about how to attract birds to your backyard, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and until next time, get out and get birding.